The Galactic Summit had never been held on neutral ground before. For centuries, humans and the Varelian Empire stood at opposite ends of diplomacy and morality, one fighting to survive among the stars, the other ruling them with ancient arrogance. But after the Silent War, peace was demanded by the exhausted cosmos itself. When the alien emperor announced a gesture of goodwill, the human delegates cheered. They thought it would be trade or shared technology. What they didn't expect was the emperor's booming laughter as he presented his daughter before the assembly, a towering, blue-skinned woman with shimmering gold eyes and a body far rounder than the sleek, ethereal figures of Aurelian prized. "This," the emperor said, voice dripping with mockery, "is my daughter, Princess Ly, too soft for combat, too slow for command, too sentimental for conquest. Consider her a gift to your fragile species. Perhaps you can find a use for her where we could not." Gasps rippled across the hall. Humanity's ambassador struggled for words, but before he could respond, the princess lowered her gaze and stepped forward, whispering something almost inaudible. "Thank you for accepting me." In the crowd stood Elliot Vance, a ship mechanic assigned to the summit for maintenance duty. He wasn't supposed to be there, just another grease-stained worker keeping the machinery humming. But when he saw the princess's trembling hands and quiet defiance, something in him shifted. Beginning, Elliot worked aboard the Starforge Haven, a floating dockyard orbiting Earth. It wasn't glamorous, but he loved the hum of engines, the smell of ozone, and the peace of fixing what others had given up on. Weeks after the summit, the Emperor's gift arrived at the Haven. Ly was to be humanity's guest of honor, though in truth, she was treated more like a political embarrassment, housed in an isolated module and avoided by everyone who feared offending the Varelian court. When her door malfunctioned one night, Elliot was sent to fix it. He expected an aloof, spoiled royal. Instead, he found her sitting quietly on the floor, surrounded by shards of broken light crystals, trying to repair them with trembling fingers. "You're not afraid of me?" she asked when he entered. Elliot chuckled softly. "Should I be? You look more like someone who could use a wrench than a weapon." Her laugh, small and awkward, echoed in the silent chamber. From that night on, whenever her quarters malfunctioned, he was the one called. Slowly, their conversations grew from polite exchanges to lingering talks about her home world, its twin suns, and the cruelty hidden behind the Emperor's golden throne. Ly revealed that her father considered her a failure for refusing genetic modifications. She didn't want perfection, she said. She wanted to feel real. Elia, with grease under his nails and calluses on his hands, told her he'd spent years building ships of commanders who never learned their names. "Guess we're both disappointments in someone else's story," he said. Middle. Rumor spread fast aboard the Starforge. The mechanic and the alien princess, sharing meals, laughter, and sometimes a quiet silence of two souls who didn't need words. When Ly offered to help him repair a damaged plasma conduit, Elliot nearly refused, until she rolled up her sleeves and revealed surprisingly strong, steady hands. Together, they repaired the system faster than his entire team could. "You're good," he admitted. "I had to learn," she replied. "My father only valued what could be used, so I made myself useful in secret." Over time, the Starforge crew began to soften toward her. She cooked alien dishes in the mess hall, helped recalibrate the medical scanners, even comforted a young technician who'd lost his family during the war. But peace was fragile. A message arrived from the Varelian Empire. The Emperor demanded his daughter's return. Officially, he claimed she was needed for a diplomatic mission. Unofficially, everyone knew he was furious that his joke had not humiliated humanity, but inspired it. Elliot confronted the admiral overseeing the Haven. "You can't send her back. You know what they'll do to her." "It's not your decision," the admiral snapped. "You're a mechanic, Vance. Stay in your lane." But Elliot couldn't. That night, Ly found him by the observation deck, staring at the blue curve of Earth below. "I have to go," she said quietly. "If I refuse, they'll punish your people. And if you go, they'll destroy you," Elia said. "You know that." She smiled sadly. "You fixed what was broken in me, Elia. That's more than anyone's ever done. Don't risk yourself for a mistake like me." He took her hands gently. "You're not a mistake. Elway, you're the first thing in years that's felt right." Ending. When the Varelian cruiser arrived to collect her, the entire haven gathered silently in the docking bay. Lye stepped forward, regal in a way her father could never comprehend. But just as the guards reached for her, alarms blared. The Starforge systems were going haywire. Elia had rerouted the power grid, sealing the docks and disabling the cruiser's engines. "You're not leaving like this," he shouted over the intercom. "You're free to choose. Lye, for once in your life, choose for you." The guards advanced, weapons drawn. Lye's eyes burned with defiance. With a motion of a hand, she unleashed a pulse of energy, Varelian tech sheet hidden, capable of bending gravity itself. The guards fell, disarmed but unharmed. She turned to the cruiser's captain. "Tell my father," she said, "that his joke learned how to laugh back." The Starforge crew erupted in cheers as the cruiser retreated, unable to fight without risking interstellar war. Months later, Lye officially joined the Haven's engineering corps, her expertise in alien systems turning the dockyard into one of the most advanced repair stations in the quadrant. She and Elia worked side by side, not as princess and mechanic, but as partners, rebuilding broken machines and, slowly, broken worlds. One evening, as the suns of Aurelia glowed faintly on the horizon of deep space, Elway leaned against him and whispered, "You said you fix what's broken. What about yourself?" He smiled, grease and starlight on his face. "Already did," he said softly. "You helped." And in that vast silence between stars, two hearts, one human, one alien, beat in perfect rhythm, defying the cruelty of an empire and proving that love, in any form, could never be a mistake.